Hi, welcome to the Trackstack podcast. My name is Presha. I'm a part of the Trackstack team, and I'm here with Blue Method as our special guest today. Blue is an artist based in Zurich, Switzerland. He's also originally from Switzerland and Cameroon. So, yeah, we're gonna dive right in. Hope you're doing well, Blue. Super excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for being here. So, the first question that I'd like to start off with is what was one of your first experiences with music that you'll never forget?
One of my first experiences that I've had with music was in my childhood. The earliest memory I would have is those long road trips with my family, with my dad. He would bring these incredible mixtapes out of Cameroon, CD times, and we would just listen to them for hours, driving somewhere, some kind of event or family gathering, whatever, and just this time was quite of like a ritual for us just to like go through these mixtapes and albums. So that's where it developed. That's where it started. I would say,
I
yeah,
don't know, that's amazing. And those times were the best, and those car rides were pretty brutal. So, the fact that you had a whole curated mixtape, I feel like, is so iconic.
yeah. It eases the journey. Like you have 6 hours in front of you. That mixtape is gonna save your life.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I love that. So, I heard that you are playing at Zurich Open Air tonight.
Yeah.
And I've kind of seen you play around Europe. I know that the US is on your list, and you're currently just like in the process of playing around as much as you can, which is it's really inspiring to see. What's one of the biggest challenges with where you are at your current stage, and how are you overcoming it?
I think this year the major challenge was in connection with my identity as an artist. I think I haven't spent like before. I haven't spent enough time actually getting into depth of like who is Blue Method, what I want to be, what do I want to sound like, and I have different experiments now where from my productions, from my compositions that I do to the image that I want to convey through like social media, and then also when I play, what do I play, how do I play, what is my style, and there goes a lot of thought and practice into this. And I think this is like a major challenge because things can change by the day, and finding your own sound, it takes a lot of time. So you have to deal with a lot of patience and being okay with like, okay, I'm feeling a little stuck right now, but I feel like right now, after 8 months now, almost 9 months too soon, I'm soon at really at a point where it's like, yeah, that's what it is for me. Like that's where I want to go.
Yeah, I love that. And it takes a lot of patience and time. And it seems that you've kind of really developed an understanding of that. And I still feel like that's so hard to do when you're also kind of still blooming,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
it's kind of like a point where you really just want to get yourself to the finish line mentally at times,
Mm,
especially with how social media and everything has kind of put that into perspective. That's not
yeah.
really the correct narrative. So I think you're doing great. And the fact that that's
Thank you.
something that you've kind of really understood um, at this point is incredible, honestly.
Best. So we get in there.
Yeah, you got it. um, Speaking of kind of your identity, what does artistry mean to you, and how are you kind of showcasing your own? And
hmm for me, artistry, simply in simple terms, means the full and honest expression of who you are, even like what you want to be, like just kind of laying out like your human experience that you're having. I see art, this is multi-dimensional. Like you have the music part, you have painters, you have sculptures, you have people that speak, you have like there's so many different forms of art And for every person, that it's kind of like, I feel like every person kind of finds their own thing, their own tool to express their human experience, because at times, words and or writing something doesn't say enough, and that's where like the music part for me can take over, whereas like I'm able to say the certain things, express certain things that I wouldn't be able to say with words. So that's where my artist from, I would say. And then sharing it, it's that's the major gift, to see that it kind of influences a room and it can create a certain thing where it's a very powerful tool. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that's a great take, and the fact that you're able to kind of put out what you feel, that's the best part of creating.
Yeah, it's I love it. It's just every time, every day, there's like a different story, or you feel a different way, and it's very interesting also, like kind of to track that over some time. Whereas like, or song from 2 years ago, I'll listen to it, it's like, oh, okay, I was in that place, I was like thinking about that, or that was going on. It's kind of a journal. And you share it, so you're very vulnerable with it. And I think it's really important around these times, where I think human beings, they really need each other. Community is very important, and music is kind of like the glue for that at times, where you're connecting. Yeah,
Yeah. No, that's great. That's a great analogy.
thank you.
Thank you. So I know that you have an inbox, and
Yeah.
you've kind of sent out your own demos and promos,
Hmm.
and you've also received some tracks in your inbox, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Um, I think the track that comes to mind that you've had support on was Indigo.
Yes.
So definitely walk me a little bit through that journey, and what was kind of the most memorable moment with that track.
So I made Indigo last year. I think it was like around April, May. I started the production of the song, and already there, I went into with the goal to kind of step it up a notch. Like I've done some productions. I was very active on SoundCloud, and with like the year 2024, I wanted to kind of step on like uncharted territory and like figure this thing out. Whereas like, yeah, I want to reach more people, and at that time, still right now, I think one of my major inspirations, I love her productions and her music so much, is Mira. And
Yes.
she
Oh my
inspired me
god.
very like a lot. And I think I was very inspired by her, that Indigo kind of was created out of that, where her songs have a very special dynamic to it. It's like not too much. It's like it's right there in that pocket, and very solid bass, very emotional chords and everything. And it kind of took me, and I created Indigo, and I let it sit around for a while. And I started sending it to my friends here in Switzerland, like Joseph, for example. He was one of the first ones who heard the song, and he was like, "Bro, this is amazing." And I was like, "Really? Like, do you think like they really mess with that?" And he kind of pushed me to like, "Bro, you got to send this around. Like, man, I'm sure this person would play it." At that time, I already used Trackstack for like some of my edits that I was wanted to send around, and started sending it to certain people. Kind of that was the kind of the classic, or Mira herself. And Mira was the first one who downloaded it too, like
Wow.
approved it with the stamp. And for me, it was like, okay, let's go. And then it kind of developed. I sent it to Shimza. Uh, there's some more people, but that's kind of like how it started spreading. And then I remember coming back. Fast forward now, October, I come back from ADE, the Amsterdam dance event.
Mhm.
Happens every year, and made some connections. Was able to give my music like through links and use sticks and all that stuff, right? And Fomp approached me. It was like, "Yeah, you want to release this?" And Fomp Records, they are good friends of mine. They were like one of the first label supporters of me, like to like wanting really to showcase my music. And then through their circles, they also spread the message. And then all of a sudden, after the release, I had Shimza playing it. I had Desiree playing the song, Mira, Manu, Jeff, like so many people. All of a sudden, they had this track, and it all happened because kind of basically Joseph told me like, bro, just send it through Trackstack, like talk to the label and let's do it. And I was kind of like in that moment, like, "Ah, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I'm glad I listened to him." So that's how it happened. So yeah,
Yeah. Shout out Joseph.
yeah, yeah, that's real. Yeah,
How did it feel to have your first download by the person that inspired you?
it's weird. It's really odd. Because at first I didn't think like she would mess with it because like, do I sound too much like her or anything? But like people were saying like, yeah, no, you can hear it to you, Blue. Like
You can hear
it's
as you. I
yeah,
remember
it is inspired by her. Like
you
I
can
will
hear
give
as
her
you.
all the credit because I think which song was it? It was her EP Blomst with like the red kind
Ah,
of
yes. Yeah, the red one. Yeah.
because this was popping at this time like last year, and it did something to my production where it's like, yeah, I got to dig deeper. So she kind of like made me, you know, go further, go deeper, and all that. So yeah. But it's crazy to me, like to see like, oh, Mira herself just downloaded it and she's messing with it. So yeah,
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And she's incredible. I think her
yeah,
complexity is so inspiring.
yeah, very,
Um,
very.
and Indigo is a great track. I remember when
Thank
I
you.
first heard it, I messaged you and I was like, I
Yeah,
see
remember,
Indigo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true that. Totally. It was a really kind of a also I think this was the track that kind of put me on the map where, I would say like the bigger players or in the game kind of started, seeing my name a little bit and
Mm.
pique their interest. And this track allowed me to kind of step a foot into like where I want to go. So Indigo, Indigo, yeah,
Indigo.
Indigo.
Is it on Spotify, SoundCloud,
All platforms.
all
Yes,
platforms?
absolutely.
So definitely, if you have another message to take away from this conversation, it's go listen to Indigo.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Speaking of music and platforms, how do you go about finding new music? And do you have a specific method or routine in place, or just kind
Mhm.
of like a pattern?
Oh, um, I think I'm around music so much that like it just happens automatically. I would say I still have an old soul in terms of like looking for vinyl. I have my vinyl collection here. When I'm in another city, Paris, Amsterdam, even in London. I was able to, go to these very, I would say, renowned record stores and like, buy music there, and like you literally won't find it anywhere else. So it's quite special to have these different kind of, I would say, tools to, find music. So I have some tracks here that you probably never heard, or like they're not, maybe they're on YouTube, like some guy just uploaded it, but I'm really like my process is more like I want to find the next thing where it's like, what is this? Like it doesn't matter if it's Spotify, SoundCloud. I usually like to listen to sets, DJ sets of like my favorite DJs, like Julian Gomez, Ad Jazz, Black Coffee, even Shimza, like so many, Ron Trent, Chez Damier, like the list goes on. Like I'm on the whole spectrum there, and I just listen also into like in which context they are playing it. At what time they're playing it. Why does it make sense? So like it's kind of like just this learning experience. Like okay, this track actually makes sense. Let me get that. and then more and more now, like, incorporating your own music, because sometimes I find myself in a dilemma where I don't find the music that I really want to hear because I have a
Mm-hmm.
certain ideas, like I need this certain track, and then, oh, I produce music, I can do it myself, so let me try it. And then, so I would say, the normal, DSPs, like even Bandcamp is a great tool, like with like a lot of gems, I would say. YouTube, Spotify, and then DJ sets. Or when I just witnessed Awesome Day live, and I was just shazamming the whole set basically. I was not always lucky, but I got some good tracks. Yeah.
That's always the best live is when you kind
Yeah.
of are like, I need this track. Like, my kind of developing method for that is just taking out my camera and then putting like my hand behind my camera. So I'm like recording like a
Mm.
black
Mhm.
screen. And it's also just like that still allows me to be fixated in the moment instead of like holding up
Yeah.
my phone, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So very big on that. But I think, you know, those are great ways to find new music. And I think that's one thing that makes you super unique is I love how you kind of go back in time to find all of these gems and kind of piece together the story of the past and then take those learnings and kind of like make your own story from it, you know?
Yeah, I think that's very important. I think more people should do as well, because a major problem now is that, a lot of this history, some kind of way, just disappears, and is not really like properly being taken care of. And I think for our generation, the young generation, it's really important to understand like where we come from, like where this is coming from. Maybe even in connection with like my roots, my African roots, my Cameroonian roots. You could even say like Africa is kind of like the mecca of like what music actually really means, right? This,
Yeah.
everything kind of comes out of there. So, if you're a producer, DJ, music enthusiast, like just look into that. There's so much stuff in there, like so much substance, so many artists that people are sleeping on. And then, going to America, where you have like hotspots like New York, Chicago, Detroit, California, Memphis, New Orleans. There's so much music, and especially like now for electronic music, I feel like this is kind of like being forgotten, and I see it as an opportunity to kind of be different, or like differentiate myself from others, because they don't see the gold mine that's like, because even in the 90s there's so much music that has been released on vinyl and everything that the majority of us now would never hear probably. So it's like there's so,
Yeah.
why not finding something, because it develops your mindset as well. It develops your understanding of music, and gives you the opportunity to make progress now in the present for the future. So like if you're moving in those rooms, past, present, and future, and you try to take it from everywhere, like I think that's the best thing. And started in the past, that's where it started, with those guys.
Yeah, and it stems from so much deeper than that too. It's like there are so many eras back decades ago that
Yeah.
kind of shaped everything, like where everything is now. Like no matter what genre it is today,
Hmm.
it's all of what we've got from the past is what's made it now. And like
Yeah.
I think you have such a great point of how people need to understand like the roots and like where it's actually come from, you know?
Hmm.
How Detroit started everything, but also it goes even more beyond that. Like where, you know, was this did it start from a certain ritual? Was
Yeah.
it a certain kind of was it a certain prayer or something, you know? What village was it from? Like people don't understand that all of those are so impactful.
Yeah, you can literally date it back if you make the research of like, let's say we have like this, we have tech house or house music right now, and then you date it back to, you have like the early 2000s, like, in Ibiza, and like then you go back to London, UK, and you go back to New York and Chicago and Detroit, and you go back to New Orleans because of the jazz explosion there, and you go back and you go to the blues, and it takes you back to Africa where everything like there's like a whole thing, and like just going kind of backwards, you're finding so many things, like you're learning so much. Why would we want to like forget that? Like this is so much enriching information that would make me such a better, performer and artist that I want to be. I have to. I have to. It's like I can't imagine myself not having to do that or not wanting to do that. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a special artist or a track that really kind of not only connects you to your roots, but it made you learn a little bit more about yourself?
That's a good question. Um, one track is really difficult to like just narrow it down to one track. But
Understandable.
say, I would say for example, I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. Like I still am. I had the whole outfit. I had the glove. I had I was there. I was a kid. I was 7, 8, around that age. I was going crazy, and one of the tracks that always had me like in a grip was "Stranger in Moscow." It's one of the older songs, but something about this song, it's very, it's quite a sad song, I would say, but the thing that it did to me is just like it made me wanting to dig deeper into like why am I feeling this? So the whole discography of Michael Jackson was kind of like this whole roller coaster of emotions where I was this 7, 8 year old kid, 9 year old kid already asking myself like how the hell did he make this? Like how is this possible? And yeah, I couldn't narrow it down just to one song. Just Stranger in Moscow just kind of popped up into my head. But Michael Jackson's discography or just who he was as an artist sparked this fire in me to like wanting to become an artist. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad that you kind of had that experience and you were able to identify who that figure was when you were so young. I think that's really special. What's something about kind of being a producer, DJ, artist that people don't really understand or appreciate in your eyes?
Hmm. Um. That's a good question. I think a lot of people underestimate, what the outside sees when you see a black coffee, for example, or let's say you see a legendary DJ like David Guetta. Even though he's like very commercial now, the amount of work and time these people spent in the studio trying to figure out how to please an audience, like this is, like it's not a regular thing that people do. Like people are very self-centered at times. They do their own thing, but the goal of the DJ or the goal of an artist at the end of the day is to do something that they like and they have enough courage to share, and just that process to actually have the courage to actually lay it down like this is who I am. You know, that's not something that everyone does. People underestimate that a lot, and I think people still appreciate it. Like you have super fans. You have people that One of my favorite artists, I would say, is Kendrick Lamar, or like even Tyler the Creator. I think they mastered the self expression part, where it's like it just
Oh,
captivates
100%.
captivates you. Like it takes you into the story, and being involved, having the privilege. For me, it's a privilege to even like, oh wow, I can step into your world and see like how what you live through. I feel like it makes me a better person. Like I learn, it's like a learning thing. And for the other perspective as an artist to be like, okay, I'm opening my doors. Like, okay, you can step in if you want to, but hey, that's that's a lot because
That's all
you're
you.
mine now. you're in my mind, you're like in my emotions, and you're feeling that with me right now. And it's a very special, sacred thing, spiritual thing even, that, sometimes people don't always really appreciate. That's fine, like that's kind of like the difficult part of being an artist, but that's what it is.
That was so beautifully said. Like, I think
Like,
it really comes down to the point of how like vulnerable certain tracks or certain albums can be. And it's like as a audience or as a fan, you don't really realize that when you're, kind of connecting your AirPods in to listen to the new album. You don't actually realize.
yeah, totally. I got what I also wanted to add is like this, with society right now, the problem I see is like this very like kind of passive way of living at times. Everybody's on their phones. I wouldn't say a victim of it, but like I'm part of it too. Like where, you're on your phone, you're passive listening to like something, and you're being bombarded with like information and music. Like so much music is being released every day. So to kind of like find something like that's very difficult. But like I would say if we would move with a little more intention, with like, okay, let's slow down a little bit. Let's feel this music, because I can't think of a time where I was with a certain person and they didn't appreciate the music or anything, or the community they were being around, because of a certain thing. It is good for you. Like music is good for you, and you should take your time to listen to it. Take the time to listen to the whole album. Don't listen just to like those 30 seconds on TikTok. Experience the full thing, because you might learn something. That's kind of like my mentality, or perspective, let's say, like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and I'm also so big on listen to it in order. There's a reason why it was
Mm,
in order, and
yeah.
also so many people are so creative with their transitions between tracks, and it's like
Mm.
listen to that, embrace that. It was intentionally done.
Yeah, and like step out the box too. It's
Yeah.
what I that frustrates me a lot, to see, there's a lot of very, talented artists, even peers of mine, even people that I look up to, that somehow they want to box themselves into something that they're not really. Well, that's my perspective, but they're boxing themselves into something where it's like you could do so much more. You can, why don't you be an artist? Like let it out, like step out the box. And I think we need to get back to that, because that's where innovation happens. That's where these new genres were created. Tagsin, a great friend of mine, was like, yeah, let me take one kick out of it. Now we have three step. Like it's things like that where it's like,
Yeah.
just be radical. Like it can be radical. If it feeds the purpose for you to like say what you need to say, do it. Don't shy
Yeah.
away
That's so real and so important.
from. Yeah,
Um and that's when the kind of best version of yourself comes out, and version of what
absolutely.
you're feeling comes out is when you're so authentic and raw with it and you don't hold back.
Yeah,
That's when you truly kind of
exactly.
release. How would you say that you stay connected with your audience, both in on and off stage?
I would say majorly right now, since I haven't really released anything, majorly through social media. I would even say I'm very active with like, people that support me or take interest into my discography. I always find a way to like, text people back, reach out, stay connected. And I think like I'm in this weird phase now where, you know, people, they slowly kind of like they realize who I am, like what, like that I made this track, for example. Now in Zurich, for example, there's like, I'm playing at a lot of places and people start to recognize me. So it's a very odd time now. So it's like I'm in the tram and like someone looks at me like, you're that DJ, right? Like it's and I'm like, Yeah, I am, right. Like it's kind of like this transition phase where it's like I need to learn like what that is like, because I never experienced that before.
Yeah.
But I would say, just being very open, just talking to people, reaching out. Also from my side, like I love to support artists that, I I love like their music and everything, even locally. Being at events, being at summits, panels, whatever, just staying in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Do you have like a specific story or just a memory of someone reaching out to you or recognizing you?
I just had one last week, which was funny. I was actually on my way to work, and it's early in the morning. I'm really tired, and this certain guy, he keeps looking at me like in the bus. I'm like, why is this guy always looking at me? Like, what's going on? And then I step out, I put in my headphones, and then I feel like a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around. It's him. Hey man, quick question. I was like, yeah, how can I help you? And I look at my like I'm about to like miss my train.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I just wanted to say I love your music. You're the DJ, right? Blue Method. And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We appreciate you. When are you playing again? I was like, uh, I was kind of like overwhelmed at this
I
point. I was
yeah.
like, yeah, this weekend. You know what? Okay, let's exchange Instagrams real quick. And now, we text each other at times, and he comes to my shows. Like that's how things quickly can happen. It's like such a beautiful thing just to see that, the music allows to, make these connections, and like it feels very unforced because it's like we're coming from the same place for the love of the music and we're sharing that, so a certain friendship can develop in a way it's priceless. So I hope I have
Yeah.
more of these positive encounters for
Yeah, I
sure.
hope you do too, and I hope it's not while you're on your way to work because that's the worst feeling.
Yeah, that's frustrating because then you have to sit there, it's like, man. Yeah, but loved it, yes.
Yeah, no, that's so special, and I love how like kind of on the spot, very spontaneous. It's not very like planned. It's in an
Yeah,
environment that you wouldn't really expect. Like you wouldn't expect on your bus ride, train commute, way to
not at
work
all.
that someone's gonna tap you and be like, "Hi, are you Blue Method? Great
Yeah.
job." But I'm glad that's happening and people are actually like vocalizing and also there's kind of a perspective to it in my eyes where some people don't even want to say something in person, or like
Mm,
there is a certain anxiety or it's
yeah,
just kind of internal thought of like, oh, there's something about saying it in person, whereas no, if you have the opportunity, that's more cherishable than a
yeah,
DM.
yeah, definitely. I think even like after certain shows, people like come up to you, and you have like I had beautiful conversation with certain people where, again, I think letting the music speak. Like I don't want to push myself as like this is who I am. That's the artist. That's
Mhm.
me. Blah blah blah. Like I want to let my music speak. And I feel like through that, I was able to have these meaningful connections with people where it kind of opened them up as well to be like, yeah, I have enough courage to come up towards you and be like, hey, I really appreciate what you did. Or what was that song? I was like, man, like, when are you playing again? And you kind of get into this conversation. Yeah.
Of course, I also feel like it has something to do with like you and how you show up on stage,
Hmm.
Like I've never seen you live, but I know that's going to be happening soon at some point.
Yes, hopefully
But just
soon.
kind of like monitoring, you on socials, you're very in it with the crowd, and I feel like that also makes a difference. That makes that bridge to connectivity
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. I see it too many times where, people kind of like push them off, like themselves off from the audience away. And it's like, it's one party, it's like one big community, and like one guy is just responsible for the music. That's about it. But that's like, we're together into this. Like, I'm dancing to the music, you're dancing, like, we're both feeling it. And that's what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah. What has been your biggest learning throughout this whole entire process?
The whole entire process.
The whole entire process. Or if you want to maybe, I know like last year was kind of a very educational year for you
Mm,
in terms of understanding who you want to be. So if you want
yeah.
to date it back from last year, that works too.
Hmm. That's true. Yeah. I think one of the major lessons that I'm learning right now is, I come from a sport background. I used to play basketball even in the States, I was playing there. I was lived there for 4 years. Went to high school and college, and it was always this very competitive mindset that I carried around. And what I'm learning now in terms of music, why am I competing? Like, with what am I competing, and like for what? Like, because you're an artist, you're you. How do you want to compare that? It doesn't make any kind of sense to like wanting to even getting into a competition with something or someone else. And I carried this certain mindset at times where it would kind of block my creative process because I had this mindset. I was like, yeah, I need to be better. I need to make more and all that stuff. But this year, I kind of totally took a step away from that. I was like, I'm on my timing. I make the music I want, and I would say I was able to create the best work to date. So kind of like getting, like kind of removing this thought of like having to compete in music as an artist, or just as an artist in general. It's just very, not, I wouldn't say stupid, because like people usually they have a competitive drive, but it's not necessary, and it actually does you more good when you kind of step away from that for the artist. Like when we talking about business, there's something else. There's two sides, of course, but if you want to tap into who you are, I don't see any kind of use of like trying to compete at that time either.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And it's kind of hard because it is like a human tendency
Yeah.
to want to be the best, want to be better,
Hmm.
but with something so precious as creativity, there's that doesn't really exist. It's
Yeah.
like you just have to be you,
Because-
and that's it.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, everything else, like the other things you can't control. You know, you
Yeah.
control what you can control, and then the rest is like that's up to the universe. Like, it's you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Speaking on just kind of other artists, if you could collaborate with any artist on a track, who would it be?
Mm, just one person,
Okay, maybe five.
maybe five. Okay, my
I
top
don't
five.
know. What's your medium? Top one, top three, top five. You can decide.
Top. Let's do top five, because I need some top threes too. This is not enough.
Okay.
I would, no particular order.
Okay.
I would say at jazz. Um, Ron Trent, Manu. Okay, now the last two. This will be very tough. Um, and the funny thing is, I just reached out to Manu, and
Oh wow,
we're probably going to do a collaboration, which this is something huge for me. So
that's
hopefully that happens.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
no,
Crazy.
definitely.
He's a legend. I think it, it wouldn't even mean to like have an actual production, but like actually be in the studio with Louis Vega for once.
Ooh,
That's, I
yeah.
think I would like, just come with my notebook and everything, and just like, yeah, just go ahead. I'm gonna write my stuff down. And then the last person, man, that's tough. Hmm, because right now, someone I enjoy a lot is Muscle Cars. So
Yeah. Yes.
I would say, they're kind of like closer to like my generation, what they're doing. I just love it. But yeah, I think like with those top five, I think I have everything covered in terms of like what my sound is like right now. You have the Afro house, you have the original house music, New York house music style, Chicago house music style in there, a little bit of like Detroit techno. If I could add a sixth one, I would say Carl Craig.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's kind of like my top five right now. Yes,
No, I love that. The muscle cars mention. Oh my
absolutely.
God.
Yes,
I
legendary.
regret not being able to see them, and hopefully I will, but very lucky that they are New York based, so need to take
Yeah,
advantage of that for sure.
yeah, yeah. Kind of jealous a little bit, but I'll make sure I see them one day. Oh, I
Cool.
forgot. I forgot even honorable mentions. They
Okay.
should be able to make it in the top five. KS in the CBD. Um,
Yes. Yes.
I think I don't need to
There's
say anything
no
more.
further commentary on that one.
Their production is incredible, incredible. Yeah,
Yeah, I it's just it's really interesting as I know that we've talked about them in the past before,
yeah,
and we've
true.
really like kind of bonded over what they create. And I remember like when I did see them live, I
Yeah,
was
I remember
thinking
you
about
told
our and I was thinking about our past conversations, but it's just so interesting when you have these conversations or kind of like this knowledge of each other, and when someone's like in front of you live, that visualization of everything is just pieced together so well.
me.
Like I
Yeah,
was like, okay, this makes sense to why he's really connected to them. This
yeah.
makes sense to like why he understands and really appreciates, what they
Mm,
do.
mm, mm.
Because you are someone that's really big on like being able to tell a story and storytelling, which
Mhm.
is honestly like amazing. And their whole set was an entire novel, honestly.
I remember you told me about it. Yeah, man, I really hope to see them soon because
Okay,
like
who's
it's
on your top five of who you'd want to see?
definitely chaos in the CBD, muscle cars for sure.
Okay.
Um, Call Craig, I need to see like one of the OGs for techno, Detroit techno. Even like either Call Craig or Derek May. Um, Let me think. I've seen Black Coffee, but like I could see him every time. Like his energy, the way he plays, the way he mixes. Um, because I actually had the chance to see a lot of like Louis Vega. I haven't seen Louis Vega play at all yet, and I would love to see him play somewhere. Like those block parties in New York, maybe. So if he would play there, I
Yes.
need to have the New York experience because other than that, it's just not. It wouldn't do its justice, for me. So yeah, we have Muscle Cars, KS in the CBD, Louis Vega. Um, I think I would love to see Bodhisattva live.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes.
Influenced me heavy in my music and has a very, also very close to like my roots. Like we share like I think his father was born in Cameroon even. So like we share kind of like the same heritage in a way. And his music is heavily influenced by the things that I used to listen to when I was a child as well. So and then actually what I want to experience absolutely is Honey Dijon because I heard these sets are also
Yeah.
very
They look
amazing.
crazy. They look
Yeah.
insane.
And I think to top it off, add jazz back to back Julian Gomez. Those two together.
I think that's your dream set.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely. Didn't you see Ron Trent earlier this year?
I've seen him three times now.
I'm
Um,
jealous.
it's it's a journey. It's like I was already very perplexed. So like he played at the club here in Zurich called Zukunft. Fortunately, they had to close, but it was kind of like the hotspot for good electronic music for sure. Like they've been around
Yeah.
for a lot of years. They had those connections. Was also able to see like Joe Classell and all these guys, Jimmy Jules, even Adriatic, for example. They had their beginnings there. So it's a very historic spot for electronic music in Zurich. I've witnessed him there first, and then he came back this year, I think. Yeah, and he had a set in a club, very nice. And then he had a listening session the next day, and I went there with like all my collections like that I have with all his records, and he signed it. I have a signed record of him, like officially. So like I will never sell this. This will always be in my collection. And this listening session was so good, like because it was literally him teaching us about his upbringing, like his music influence, and then playing. And he was playing Quincy Jones and like incredible 80s hits. And it was kind of like also a launch of his latest album, which was like more, I wouldn't say disco-ish, but like kind of like just the music of his time when he was a teenager.
Hmm.
Very, very interesting stuff. Yeah.
Wow. That's such a unique experience, and I'm glad that you got to experience that.
I
Because
hope you will
that's,
too.
I hope so too. I hope so too. And I hope Muscle Cars works out soon as well.
Yeah,
Because
like
that one,
I'm a firm believer. If you're into house music, you need to witness Ron Trent one time,
I
once in your life.
know.
You need to.
I know.
It's like it's mandatory.
It is mandatory.
Yeah.
He's definitely incredible. Just an overall legend for sure. And it's important to kind of recognize those people and like cherish that this
Mhm.
is a one of a kind only.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The thing is, I think we could talk about this like I think for another hour, whereas like we just exchange artists that we just love because there's so many more that is just that also bring that they're the same kind of like energy in their own way, like a Ron Trent, like a Louis Vega. There's so many like I think the podcast will be like 8 hours maybe. Like,
Maybe even of 24 at that point because you
yeah,
just keep going back to back to back, and then you also,
for
when you
weeks
talk
even.
about music and
Yeah.
when you introduce it, then you're like, oh, this specific song and this set,
Mhm.
or this specific song from this album or this album,
Yeah.
and then it's like I think it would take me like maybe a year to explain to someone my library,
Makes sense. Yeah,
honestly.
absolutely. I think so too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
um
absolutely.
well, speaking on kind of just like all of these points that you've gained and just all of these experience that you've had with yourself and just with other artists, if you could give a piece of advice to the Trackstack community, what would it be?
Mm. I think spend time figuring out what you're made of and let it out creatively and take as much time as you need to. There's like no pressure, there's no clock running for that. Just think that's what the world needs from every individual, beyond music, just to go inward and figuring out what's going on inside of me, and then sharing that human experience. I think that creates understanding, that creates peace and togetherness and community. And I think that's what are the kind of like the pillars for a healthy and successful like society and life. So that's kind of
Yeah,
like you know
that was beautiful. That was so beautiful. No, that really had me thinking for a
yeah,
second. It was so
I didn't know
beautiful.
if I was yapping something. I don't know.
No, no, you weren't yapping. I thought of something, and I don't. If you'd love to elaborate, go ahead.
Hmm.
Um, Based on your statement,
Hmm.
you did recently collab on a track with someone that really embodies that statement. That's still in the works.
Now you need to help me because I have a couple of collaborations.
It was. I honestly don't remember the name because it was on your live. Um,
Oh, okay. First of all, shout out Desiree, aka Ifidayo.
Ifedayo.
She's
She's incredible. She is
she's
incredible.
incredible in a way where the thing is she started officially producing this year, and the stuff that she's doing right now, I think she's been holding that creative flow inside of her
Inside.
for so long.
Yeah.
She now found again like music kind of as a tool to release it, and the stuff that comes out of her computer that she sends to me, and when we're in the studio together and the ideas she brings are just, it makes me a better artist because it's just like I'm learning from her, which is like some people think, oh, that's backwards. You're making music for so much longer. You've been making music for like since you're a kid and all that. How's that possible? It's like that ignorant part. You have to kind of throw this away with her. Like it's impossible. Like you listen to her music and it's just amazing. And yeah, we did collaborate. It's called Native Strangers, and yeah, hopefully y'all get to hear it soon because the backstory behind this whole track, and I think I even was talking about it on my live, is huge. It's big, and I think we was able to really transport the storytelling into the track itself.
Yeah. And also the statement that you made is like a huge sub part of kind of what you were talking about behind that
Mm,
track.
yeah, like
Yeah.
exactly. I see what you're trying to say. So basically, the track, like the essence of the track that made Native Strangers what it is the name itself is kind of like the paradox of like something that is native but feels estranged to you, to your spirit, where I think a lot of people are experiencing something, they're seeing something which should be native because it comes from you, but you've been so disconnected from yourself that it feels, you know, you're looking at a stranger like, what is this? And that's kind of like I think the problem that we try to approach there, that we see in societies and in communities and in ourselves, where we
Yeah.
sometimes even reject things that's you. Like, why would you reject that? So yeah,
No,
absolutely.
that's so true. And once it's kind of all ready, do you think you guys will send it to an inbox? And do you have the inbox in mind that you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, there's some things that we need to mix down, but like, yeah, it's ready. And then we're gonna get in talks with like, certain labels and everything. And once we have that, like it's gonna be ready for Trackstack to be distributed for
Yeah, I'm
for individuals.
excited to see its inbox journey because I know it's gonna have a journey. That one's gonna have a journey for sure.
Yeah,
That
absolutely. I
one's
hope so
going to
too.
be traveling from inbox to
You
inbox.
think so? Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
we'll
so.
see.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
very special.
Glad
Um,
to hear that. Glad to
but
hear that.
yeah, thank you so 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 much. I
Thank
think
you.
this is a very very special episode, and I think everything that you've just given is a huge learning opportunity. I think people will have a better understanding on who Blue is as well. So thank you so so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity to even, being able to share the things. Really good questions also. So shout out to you, Presha. Really appreciate what you do for the community. And yeah.
Thank you so much for joining and kind of letting us tell your story a little bit, and kind of sharing all of these insights. I think I've learned even more.
Thank you for having me.
I think we're super lucky and honored to have had you. It was great to just kind of dive deeper. Thank you for all of your advice, and I think the community has a lot to take back from this conversation.
Wow. Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed the conversation, and I really hope that there's some things that other people can take from. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks.
Bye.